Part 21. Escape. Fear was taking over him now. Total fear. After the second murder, the unexpected one, fear became the only thing he could feel. He wanted to run. He needed to get out. He needed to get away from this place as fast as possible. If he could have thought clearly at that moment, if he could have seen the full picture of what he had done, if he had understood how many more problems, how many more dangers were ahead of him, it is possible, it is very possible that he would have stopped, that he would have gone to the police himself, not because of fear, but because of horror, because of deep, dark loathing for what he had done. That loathing was growing inside him with every second. It grew stronger, but he could not think clearly. A kind of blankness was spreading through his mind, a dreamlike fog. At times, he forgot what was important. He got distracted by small things. He walked to the kitchen. He saw a bucket half full of water on a bench. He decided to wash his hands. And the axe. His hands were sticky with blood. He put the axe blade into the water. He found a piece of soap on the window ledge. He washed his hands. When they were clean, he took the axe out. He washed the blade. Then he spent a long time, about 3 minutes, washing the wooden handle. There were spots of blood on the wood. He rubbed them with soap. He rubbed them again. Then he dried the axe with a piece of cloth that was hanging in the kitchen. He held the axe up to the window and looked at it carefully. There was no blood left, only the wood was still a little wet. He put the axe back under his coat. He hooked it in place. Then he checked his clothes, his coat, his trousers, his boots. The light in the kitchen was not good. He could not see everything clearly. There were some spots on his boots. He wetted the cloth and rubbed them. But he knew he was not checking carefully enough. There might be something he was missing, something clearly visible, something he was walking right past. He stood in the middle of the room. Dark thoughts rose in his mind. What if he was going mad? What if he was completely losing his reason? What if he should be doing something completely different? God help me, he whispered. I must go. I must go now. He ran to the entrance door of the flat, and then he saw it. The front door. The door to the staircase. It was open. Not locked. Not bolted. Standing open at least 6 inches. It had been open the whole time. The entire time. The old woman had not locked it after he came in. Maybe she left it like that on purpose. Maybe as a precaution. But then he remembered. Lizaveta had come in while he was there. She had walked in through this very door, and he had not heard her. He had not thought about her. He had not locked the door when he arrived. He had not even checked. He could not believe it. He stood and stared at the open door. He ran to it and pushed it closed. He latched it. Then he thought, no, wrong thing to do. I need to leave. I need to get out. He unlatched the door again. He opened it a crack. He listened. Far below, somewhere near the entrance of the building, 2 voices were shouting, arguing, loud and sharp. He waited. The voices stopped. Suddenly, as if cut off. Silence. He was about to step out onto the stairs when a door opened below him. Someone came out. Someone began walking up the stairs, humming a tune. Why does everything make noise? He thought. He pulled the door shut again. He waited. Silence. No one on the stairs. He moved toward the door again, and then more footsteps. These ones were different. They came from far below, from the very bottom of the stairs. But something about these footsteps, something told him, these are coming here. These footsteps are coming all the way up to the 4th floor, to this flat. Why did he think that? He did not know, but he was sure of it. The steps were heavy. They were steady. They were slow. 1 floor, then 2, then the 3rd, coming closer, getting louder. He could hear breathing, heavy breathing. The 4th floor. Raskolnikov moved in an instant. He slipped back inside the flat. He closed the door behind him quietly. He put the hook in the catch, softly, without a sound. Then he pressed himself against the door. He held his breath. The visitor stopped just outside. They were standing on opposite sides of the same door, just like Raskolnikov had stood on the other side facing the old woman a short time ago. The man outside was breathing hard. He must be a big man, thought Raskolnikov. A heavy man. He gripped the axe. The visitor rang the bell, loud and sharp. Raskolnikov felt something move in the room behind him. He listened very carefully. Was it real, or was it his imagination? The man rang again. He waited. Then he grabbed the door handle and pulled, violently, impatiently. Raskolnikov looked in terror at the hook in the door. It was shaking, rattling. He thought it will break. At any moment it will break. He wanted to hold it in place with his hand. But if he touched it, the man would feel it from the other side. He felt dizzy again. I will fall down, he thought. Then the man spoke. His voice was thick, irritated. What is going on in there? Are they asleep? Or dead? Damn them, he shouted. Hey, Alyona Ivanovna, open the door. What is happening? He rang the bell again, many times, hard. Then new footsteps on the stairs. Someone else, coming up quickly. A lighter step. Is there no one at home? Said a young voice, cheerful and ringing. Good evening, Koch. So the big man's name was Koch. Who the devil knows, said Koch. I have almost broken the lock. But how do you know my name? We played billiards together the day before yesterday at Gambrinus. I beat you 3 times. Oh, right. Koch paused. So there is no one home. Strange. I came on business. I needed to get money. I also had business here, said the young man. Well, what can we do? We will have to come back. The old woman fixed this time herself, said Koch. His voice was angry now. She told me to come at this hour. And now where is she? She sits here all year, never goes anywhere. Her legs are bad. And now, suddenly she has gone for a walk? Should we ask the porter? Said the young man. Ask him where she went, when she will be back. Maybe. But she never goes anywhere. Koch pulled at the door handle one more time. Then he stopped. There is nothing we can do. We must go. Wait, said the young man. His voice changed. It became serious. Do you see how the door shakes when you pull it? So what? Said Coke. It means the door is not locked. It is fastened from the inside with a hook. You hear that clicking sound? That is the hook. If someone had locked it from the outside, you would not hear that sound. But a hook can only be put on from inside, which means someone is in there. Someone is inside and not opening the door. My God, you are right, said Koch. He seemed surprised, alarmed. He started pulling at the door again, harder. Stop, said the young man again. Do not pull. Something is wrong here. You have been ringing, pulling, shouting, and no answer. Either they have both fainted or... He did not finish the sentence. Or what? Said Koch. We should go and get the porter. Let him wake them up or open the door. Good idea. Let us go. A short pause. You wait here, said the young man. I will run down and get him. It is clear. It is completely clear that something is wrong here. He said it with great certainty. Then his steps went quickly down the stairs. Koch stayed. He touched the bell again gently this time. One soft ring. Then he pushed at the door handle again, testing it, pulling it slowly, letting it go, checking. He bent down and looked through the keyhole, but the key was still in the lock on the inside. He could not see anything. On the other side of the door, Raskolnikov stood with the axe in his hand. He was in a kind of fever. His thoughts were dark and wild. For a moment he thought about opening the door, opening it himself, shouting at them, fighting them. Over and over, one thought. Come on, hurry, just hurry up. But Koch was losing patience. He waited a little more. Then, with a sudden grunt, he left his post. He walked down the stairs too. His heavy steps faded away below. Silence. Good God, thought Raskolnikov. What do I do now? He unhooked the door. He opened it. He listened. Nothing. He stepped out. He pulled the door shut as well as he could. He started walking down the stairs. 3 floors down, he heard a loud voice below. Catch him. Somebody was running and shouting, falling down the stairs as they ran. Mitka! Mitka! Blast him! The shout turned into a shriek, then silence as the sound moved into the yard below. But now other voices, people coming up, 3, maybe 4 of them, talking fast and loud. He heard the young man's ringing voice among them. He was trapped. There was nowhere to go. Going back up into the flat, that was the end. Going down, they would see him. They would remember his face. He was 1 floor away from them. 1 flight of stairs, and then on his right, an open door. A flat on the 2nd floor. Empty. Painters had been working there. They had just left. The floor was freshly painted. In the middle of the room, a bucket and a broken pot of paint. Some brushes. In 1 second he was inside. Behind the wall. The group passed the landing. They kept going up to the 4th floor. Their voices disappeared above him. He waited. Then on tiptoe he walked out. He went down the stairs. No one in the hallway. No one at the gate. He walked through the gate quickly. He turned left on the street. He knew perfectly well that right now they were upstairs. They had found the flat unlocked. They were looking at the bodies. Any moment now. They would understand. The murderer had been there. He had hidden somewhere. He had walked right past them and escaped. They would work it out. They would guess he had hidden in the empty flat below. He could not run. Running would attract attention. But the next corner was still far away. Should he hide in a doorway? Should he throw the axe away? Should he take a cab? None of it made sense. None of it would work. He walked. He reached the corner. He turned. He was more than halfway to safety. A big crowd of people, and he disappeared among them, like a grain of sand on a beach. But his body was failing. He could barely move. Sweat was running down him in streams. His neck was wet. Someone shouted something at him as he passed. He barely heard it. He was barely aware of himself. He went a long way around a different direction from home. He did not want to be seen. He did not want anyone to remember him walking home. He was not fully conscious when he reached his building. He was already on the stairs before he remembered the axe. He had to put it back. He had to put it back without being seen. The porter's door was closed. Not locked, just closed. The porter was probably inside. But Raskolnikov walked straight in. He could not think. If the porter had asked, "What do you want?" he might have simply handed over the axe. Just handed it to him. But the porter was not there. He put the axe back under the bench. He covered it with the same piece of wood as before. He met nobody. On the way to his room, the landlady's door was shut. He went inside. He fell onto the sofa, just as he was, with his coat on, with his boots on. He did not sleep, but he lost all awareness. He lay there empty. If anyone had opened the door, he would have jumped up and screamed. Bits and pieces of thoughts moved through his mind, but he could not hold on to any of them. He could not stop on any single one. No matter how hard he tried, he could not rest. He lay on the sofa in his small room. The room was dark. The walls were close. The ceiling was low. He had lived here for months, in this box of a room, and it had never bothered him before. Now, it felt like a trap. He stared at the ceiling. He thought about nothing. He thought about everything. Outside, the city was still going. He could hear it. Horses, voices, a door closing somewhere, a child crying far away. The city did not know what he had done. The city did not care. The world was the same, only he was different. He closed his eyes, but he did not sleep. He could not sleep. His mind kept moving over and over through the same dark corridors. The door, the axe, the blood, the open door, the steps on the stairs, the hook rattling in the catch. He pressed his face into the old sofa cushion. He did not move. He barely breathed. And the night passed. He thought about the old woman. He had visited her many times before, always with a pledge, always needing money. He had sat across from her at the small table. She had weighed his objects in her wrinkled hands. She had given him less than they were worth, much less. And he had taken the money anyway, because he had no choice. He had told himself she was old. She was cruel. She was a louse. She fed on the misery of others. She took things from desperate people and gave almost nothing back. Nobody would miss her. He had told himself these things many times, over many weeks. He had built the argument in his head, carefully, like a construction. He had tested it from every side, and he had decided, yes, this was justified. This was logical. This was even good. But standing here now, in this silent flat with the body on the floor, the argument had disappeared. It was gone. There was no logic here. There was no justification. There was only this, only what he had done. And still, he could not rest. To be continued.
Подпишись, пожалуйста, или хотя бы поставь лайк. Один лайк не меняет мир, но меняет путь того, кто делится смыслом.